Hi, I want to say that I believe that reason gives a direct awareness of universals, in that universals are, universal, let's say I have two pieces of papers in front of me, so universal is like, do these pieces of paper have something in common? Well, I would say yes, they have whiteness in common. So whiteness is a universal. I think people that don't believe in universals, that say that these pieces of paper have nothing in common, they need to justify that it seems that there's something in common between trees and birds and people. So I think there are universals, and I think that reason gives a direct awareness of them. I know that Kant and general philosophers didn't think that reason gives awareness of things directly. That it only, if you take cognitive value, things that we do have, like memory and other things, that reason can work on cognitive things, but doesn't give direct awareness of things. I think that's wrong, and I think that not only does reason give awareness of mundane things, but I think it also gives awareness of moral values. And I think that these moral values that reason gives an awareness of are the basis of the Rambam, Moshe ben Maimon, of his idea of what Torah is all about. So we see the Mor Nevuchim says all of the mitzvahs have some underlayer of a priori values that they need to be based on, and they're not in themselves good. It's rather that they themselves are intended to bring to some type of value that's underneath them, but this value is the a priori value, which is in itself good. I think that from Torah alone, one can't conclude, or just from the simple Torah alone, without taking into account this sub-layer of a priori values underneath it, I think that one can't come out with a proper system of people, of action, a proper system. The reason is because, first of all, I think that people are sincere, and that if you teach them that only Torah is what matters, and that the Rabbanim, they know Torah, and they tell you what Torah says, and then only that determines it. Well, I think the people are sincere, and they're going to act based on the idea that just what Rabbanim say, what rabbis say, that determines reality. So I think that's going to make a problem that it can be not just misused, but I think that it creates a kind of conflict inside of people, because I think that most people know that moral values aren't dependent on what other people say, or what rabbis say, and and in fact I'm sure that there's not even though the most Haredi Jew in the world that says, no, I believe that whatever Torah says, whatever the Rabbanim that learn Torah, they have Das Torah, they know, it's obvious to me that they don't believe that, except they think they believe it. The reason they don't believe it is because let's say there's a problem of anti-Semitism in the world. So I've never heard of anyone that thinks that the solution to anti-Semitism is just to get rabbis together, and they should just all conclude that there is no anti-Semitism, and the problem will just disappear because rabbis have said it, and that's the way things are. So obviously, people don't believe that. And the idea that there are moral values that don't need a proof, I don't think it's an unusual thing to say that there's things that don't need a proof, and that we have cognitive awareness by the faculty of reason of things. Just for instance, let's say I'm in a conversation with someone, say to them, you know what, it's wrong to torture people just for the fun of it, or it's wrong to, So they say, why do you think that? You have to have a reason, don't you? If you don't have a reason for it, it has to be from Torah, or it has to be just arbitrary. Well, I say, well, why do I need a reason for that? I mean, I don't. Why isn't it just self-evident that it's wrong to torture people for the fun of it? Why do I need a reason? Well, he says to me, well, because if you don't have a reason for it, then it's just arbitrary. So I ask him, how do you know that? Well, he says, well, that's self-evident. He just contradicted himself. What do you mean it's so he says that there's something that's self-evident, that there's some type of something that's like self-evident. But if it's self-evident, why doesn't need a, why doesn't something, you just got that saying that something self-evident needs a proof. It doesn't have a proof for it. So why can't I just say that torturing people for the fun of it? It's self-evident that it's wrong. And there are a priori values, and that's the basis of Torah morality, Torah ethics. Okay, thank you.